Rolling inwards
and lying flat.
We're your hosts, Psycho Meatfish
and Mecho.
Okay.
Hey guys, another episode of the NJTP podcast.
It's been a while, so I should probably talk about that first. It's been over a year since I've uploaded anything on the channel, so I should probably explain that. Been busy with stuff. Basic summary, I've been really busy with college and a lot of other things. I've been spending a lot of time studying and working on a couple other projects that I really don't feel the need to talk about right now, but I've just been super busy and I kind of forgot about the channel for a bit, so yeah. Anyways, for those of you who haven't watched the first episode, I am Psycho Meatfish. I'm an artist, and I'm also a game dev, and a lot of other things on the side. I'm currently studying networking at a tertiary institution.
Nerd.
And my co-host is Mechode.
The cool one. Yeah, I'm also an artist. A much better one. And more consistent. I don't go to college yet. But I have a job. So I'm employed. You can check out my comic at MrMon.com. Very cool. And definitely not extremely weird. Yeah, I also do other kinds of drawings on the side and stuff. I used to be a comment writer too. That's about it though. No college here.
Yeah. Yeah, but for those of you who don't know yet, you should read MrMon at MrMon.com. Just shameless plug, MrMon.com. It's great, you should read it.
It will improve your life.
Yes, it will improve your life, and we talked about MrMon in the first episode of the podcast last year. Anyways, with those introductions out of the way, today we're going to be talking about anime. What about anime? We're going to be talking about anime and help.
Biking, anime, and what kind of anime influences the young man's mind.
We're talking
Best.
About anime and what kind of
females like to call it male power fantasy.
What kind of anime is good for young men and what kind of anime is bad for young men, and we're going to be talking about the themes that they might give off, either directly or indirectly, intentionally, unintentionally, and we're going to be talking about the sort of messages that they give. I just said that, the messages that they give, and just giving our general opinions about different kinds of anime that we've watched ourselves and that we've seen or heard about, and we're just going to be talking about whether or not we would think that they're a good fit for a budding young man.
I think we need to set an age.
Right.
Listing changes depending on age.
Yeah, so a young man, I think we're going to be setting it to about, like, teens, so like 13 plus?
13.
Is that
13 plus?
Is that a fair?
13 plus is crazy.
Is that too young to you?
That might be too old.
Too old?
13 plus. Isn't 13 plus? You mean saying a 17-year-old would fucking what's on this list? A 17-year-old? My hero. That's not young. I don't know, like
13 plus though.
I think it depends on the anime. Isn't the shonen age like 10 to like 13?
But like some of this stuff is not age appropriate for 10-year-olds.
What do you mean, like
B-stars?
The blood?
Yeah, the blood, the gore, nudity.
I mean, the nudity isn't even that bad. Like, I'm just one of those guys that's like, yeah, I'll let my child watch fucking Berserk. He's 7 years old. I'm one of those people, so maybe. What? 12 to 18 is a short age? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so
Alright, carry on.
We'll go with like 12 is probably
12
fine.
12 to 18 is crazy.
Now, my 10-year-old would probably still be watching cartoons or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's just me. But yeah, we'll be talking about that today. Alright, so our first discussion, I think, is gonna be about 7 Deadly Sins, the best anime that I definitely watched. I've definitely watched.
We're talking about Full Metal first.
No, Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah, so Full Metal.
No, Seven Deadly Sins.
Full Metal.
Anyways, if you watch the trailer, we did show a scene, and we're gonna be talking about that scene. So, yeah, it's a bad scene. It's a really bad scene. The problem with the scene and the problem with Seven Deadly Sins, I haven't watched it, but I've heard that it's awful from most sources on the internet. I did bother to kind of skim over the first episode just to see.
You watched?
Well, I skimmed over. I didn't actually watch it.
They just skipped it to the scene with Melly
Till the end. I just looked for the scene that I was thinking about. But the scene is basically, to summarize, Meliodas finds a girl in armor, and then he takes her to his home, and she's unconscious and she's on his bed. And this female character is called Elizabeth, for those who actually know what this shit is about, because I really only did a very small amount of research, so I only have a very small amount of understanding of what this stuff is about. But Elizabeth is on his bed or whatever, and the pig character says, yeah, this is a girl. And then Meliodas goes, let's make sure. And then he proceeds to grope this female character while they're unconscious. And then she wakes up and she stares dead into his soul, and he continues to grope her. So yeah, while also oogling at her body and making weird and pervy comments. So yeah, that was a problem to me. I feel like, because even though this anime sucks, it's actually pretty popular. I think
it is. It's very
for a lot of people. So
for some reason,
I was like, this is a problem. My young son Timmy would not be watching this. So,
what the fuck do you name your son Timmy anyway?
Example. What's wrong with the name Timmy? Can I name my son Timmy?
I think you'll get bullied in school if you name your son Timmy.
Timothy.
Timmy's a nickname.
Anyways, the issue with that, I feel like, is obvious to most people, but it sends a really bad example for the kind of it just doesn't give a good example of like how young men should interact with women that are friends with, that are other men and women they're attracted to. It just gives off a really bad example. And what makes it worse is that Meliodas gets absolutely no backlash for his actions. Like, Elizabeth is just like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy's groping me, okay, cool. And Meliodas is the protagonist. He's the main character, so this is a really bad thing for the main character to do, since the main character is going to be more than likely the character that the viewer kind of puts himself into and will try to emulate, more or less, if there are any other sort of role model type characters. And
no, not role models. Yeah. Character they can insert themselves into.
Yeah, characters.
He just like me for real. Which what Meliodas is in this context. He's the main character, and he's short, and he's the main character. He gets most of the screen time.
Yeah. So this is our problem. Meliodas is the main character. He's the son of the Demon King or some garbage. He's super powerful, and what makes it even worse is that as the series progresses, he actually gets into a relationship with Elizabeth, which is fucking bonkers, considering he fucking groped her as their first interaction. So it gives a really bad impression of like how to interact with women and girls or whatever.
I mean, I'm thinking like the context, like this is like the anime thing where there's all this weird gropey shit. A lot of them, like, especially shonen, weird sexual crap. Just be supposed to be titular to the young boys, because they watch my anime because there's boobies. I feel like context is pretty non-relevant. It's like random girl in armor on my bed. Ooh, I grew up her. I mean, I guess I get what you're saying. I'm trying to think about it like a. Usually, you don't hear anything about these dudes becoming fucking creepers or some shit when they get older. Also, I'm pretty sure the other female characters are less sexualized than Elizabeth. Especially that one that's trying to date Escanor, or they're dating or some shit, if I remember correctly, off of what I know. But I get your point. I feel if it was more I really, this is interesting, I don't know if harem anime, or these kind of anime, actually gets people to think like that. They might just be some weird, like, underlying sexual fantasy, like, oh, it's titillating or something. I don't know. This is my take though.
I get what you're saying with that. I think it's a fair point. But I still believe that it has at least a minor influence on the person that's doing it up to a certain point. Like, maybe not much, but I do feel like it has some sort of influence, especially for like really, really, really young people.
I feel like you'd have to think that that was neutral, like touching, touching women like that is a neutral belief system being bad. Like if you watched Seven Deadly Sins and you were like, oh yeah, touching groping this woman is bad, and you got to the Melio to see, I don't think it would do anything to you. I think you have to have like a neutral or positive leaning view on that.
That's why I feel like it's worse for young people, because they might not have a more clear set of values when it comes to that.
I mean, like, if they have a decent parental figure, there should be with that. Should have by that point.
I guess it also depends on age, because obviously if they're younger, they want to be taught about.
Like, how young?
Like 5, 6, 7.
A 5-year-old's not watching this. 5-year-old's probably still watching fucking Sesame Street or some shit, or fucking Robot Boy, or fucking, I don't know, Chalk Zone.
Yeah, I guess it depends on more than just age, like whether or not the parents were neglectful or actually bothered to teach the kids these sorts of things. And, considering the current state of parenthood and the lack of fathers, this might actually be the case. So a 12-year-old ding-dong might still not have been taught about interacting with women, so that's why I feel like this is still somewhat
in this case, little girls.
Yeah. And, the fact that Meliodas actually gets with Elizabeth sends off a really bad message, even if it was unintentional or only minor. That
obviously it is intentional, but I mean, obviously, I don't think the writer wanted to tell people, yes, men, grope women. But obviously, just wanted to be like, oh, look, he's touching her boobs, guys. Whoa, boner. Yeah, funny.
This is more of an issue with shonen in general sometimes.
It's just Japan, man.
Yeah, in Japan, but either way, intentional or not, it sends a pretty bad message that somehow, if you do this stuff, you're going to succeed and you're going to get the girl, which is not true. Realistically speaking, if you did this, Elizabeth would not just stare at you while you grope her boobie. She would pepper spray you and run away and call the cops. So yeah, I'm just to point,
have an essay charge.
Just to point that out there, you get an essay charge.
You're permanently unemployed.
And permanently unemployed. So yeah, I'm just saying, guys, don't do this if you didn't know that already. So it's a pretty bad example, even if it was not intentional. I feel like it's worth pointing out that.
Yeah, I feel like most of these lower tier anime don't really think.
Yeah, they don't think about the sort of impact it might have on younger viewers subconsciously. It's just kind of like, well, we need to appeal to them somehow, so they're just gonna do this without thinking about
really it. All shonen was about most of the time during that era. I mean, not really. Naruto, I think Naruto had some fan service type shit, but I think Naruto had more substance than this crap. Yeah, but that was kind of the whole ring around the time. Yeah, put some sort of fan service in there. Look at you, Soul Eater.
Yeah,
Christ.
It of course, again, it's not gonna not gonna turn people into fucking, I don't know, sex offenders and rapists and shit. But I feel like subconsciously it did have an effect on our generation. It just, I don't know, it just makes us a little bit more perverted. I don't know. I just feel like it did something, and it doesn't have a positive impact on the people viewing it. That's just my opinion.
And the main it does nothing, and the worst it does something bad. So it's in that regard, it's still worse than the other options we have.
Yes, and our other options would be other not atrocious protagonists, and I do need to point out that interaction with Meliodas and Elizabeth was their first interaction with one another. Was again a horrible thing. But there's better options for anime protagonists and the way they interact with female characters, like Deku from My Hero Academia. So, his first interaction with a female character, aside from his mom, is with Uraraka, which is one of his classmates, when he's entering UA.
Entering the exam.
Entering the exam, sorry. So he almost falls, and she uses her quirk to stop him from falling, and then he kind of just panics a little bit. He's so socially awkward.
He's a nerdy nerdy, social awkward, preteen.
Yeah, and he's like super awkward and stuff. He doesn't say a word. He just mumbles and stuff. He doesn't really know what to say. Super nervous. Blah 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 blah. You get the gist. He's your generic, quirky, nerdy, anxious boy. And there's no form of sexualization in this interaction between the two characters at all. It's just a little fun thing, and I think it's a lot better because it sets also a lot more realistic representation of how a lot of young boys and men are today. They're pretty bad at talking to women. They're very nervous and anxious, and they kind of stutter a lot and that kind of stuff. And although Mind Hero does have fan service later on in the series and a little bit during the earlier parts, it's not very bad.
It's not
and
that much. It kind of drops off after season 4.
Yeah, and it's not executed by Deku, the main character. It's virtually pretty much all done by Mineta.
There's another point. Oh yeah, I don't think when the Mineta interactions are fan service. Like I don't think anybody gets a hard on from watching Mineta's antics. Like I don't think anybody was like, wow. That one time when they crashed into, this Boost was like, oh my god, Mineta, thanks. And it was like, yeah, thank Mineta the slaw backhanded again. That's always my reaction. I feel like most of the fan service is just like Mineta being a pervy little shit. It's supposed to be funny. Like I don't really. Also, we're gonna get to Mineta, so yeah, we're gonna get to him. So you can continue.
Yeah, but Deku is the main character. He's not a pervy bastard like Meliodas. He's honorable. He wants to be a hero, and he embodies those values.
Right. Another bad thing about the Meliodas thing is that Meliodas is completely oblivious to what the fuck he's doing. Like he has a blank ass fucking facial expression. It's like, ooh, this is normal, guys. I'm just touching this girl's boobs. You know, he's not aware that what he's doing is bad. Like, I'm touching this girl's boobs, or should I really be touching? Who I'm touching this girl's boobs? Like so fucking oblivious and obnoxiously like, yeah, this is normal, guys. Yeah, I'm touching this girl's boobs. It's pretty common tactic these fucking characters have to just do this pervy shit completely obliviously. Like, yeah, this is normal, guys.
Yeah, and as I was pointing out before, I feel like what that does is that it kind of normalizes this sort of behavior, or at least this way of thinking. Like, even if like people aren't influenced into actually doing these actions, I feel like it kind of pushes them to be thinking woman in a more objective way, a little bit more. If we're not really saying that it's gonna promote like groping or anything, at the bare minimum, it could definitely make a lot of young men a lot more perverted and just generally see women in a less positive way, just because of the way that it handles that kind of stuff. And to actually talk about Mineta in comparison, yes, Mineta is also a perverted bastard like Meliodas, but the difference is that one, Mineta is a side character, and two, Mineta actually gets some form of backlash for his actions, albeit somewhat underwhelming. He still gets some level of negative response, and it is very clear in the anime that Mineta is not a good role model. They're not trying to tell you to be like Mineta. He's not the son of All Might. He doesn't have these amazing powers. He doesn't save anyone from some super evil supervillain. He's not super powerful or anything. He's kind of just a little shit. So,
and he ugly.
Yeah, nobody likes Mineta.
Nobody wants to answer this. All just Mineta.
And there's to even further hit home that point, there's several parts in the anime where Mineta actually praises Deku and All Might for their nobleness, and he talks about how cool they are, and that gives a good impression that they want you to see Deku and All Might as role models and not Mineta.
That just makes it look even worse.
Yeah.
Why are you guys so cool and not me? You definitely would not necessarily self as Mineta by that point.
So even though both animes have perverted characters, one of them does it in a way that's not nearly as harmful as the other, because Mineta isn't something you would want to be like, or someone you would want to be like. Well, Meliodas is portrayed as this amazing protagonist of all these hidden powers that he needs to unlock, and he gets the female or whatever, and it's just kind of ridiculous. So I feel like I needed to point that out as well. Like, yes, My Hero has fan service, but it's handled in a way that's a lot better than Seven Deadly Sins. Again, it's not perfect, but it's handled a lot better. It's a lot of a better option for someone to have their child watch in comparison. And to even My Hero has so many good themes, and it teaches so many good values and sub-values that it's worth watching in spite of that. The minor fan service, there's so much to gain from it as a young person, so many important things to get. compared to seven. I don't even know what sort of value seven deadly sins. Last time I checked, I got a summary that it was about like what friendship, the power of friendship, and
good versus evil,
and
some
redemption, like the most generic, unspecific garbage.
Power of friendship.
You would find it like any generic anime. Like it's not anything substantial, like at all, and it's not nearly as realistic anyway. So like, yeah, it's not. And those sort of things don't really apply to young men specifically, so it wouldn't even be as good as of a thing. You can learn those values in real life. You know, you can learn to value friends by having friends. Redemption is just such an odd thing to like have as it's not a bad theme, but it's.
I don't think it's very.
It is not
individual specific.
Yeah, it's not individual specific, and it doesn't really apply that much in real life.
It very much is. Yeah. You have to be the kind of individual that needs to hear that kind of message to actually get something from it.
My bad. You need to be the kind of person that would need to be told about redemption to actually get anything out of it. If you don't need redeeming, then it's not really that useful in the real world. Well, yeah, I feel like I need to point that out first. Alright, so that's the first segment. I feel like I just need to talk about that. Well, I guess we could talk about a couple other anime protagonists and the way that they interact with women and why that's still infinitely better than the way Meliodas did, and probably a lot of other anime protagonists do. I don't really have a lot of other examples. I don't know if you have any other examples, Meko.
I mean, I don't know if they're relevant to this discussion right now. Should I talk about Denji? A young man would not be watching. I said 13 to 18, I guess. I feel these animes are more or less relevant depending on the age. Because I would talk about Denji, but a fucking 13 is getting absolutely nothing from Denji. Unless they have literally the exact same backstory as him. I feel like an older teen, like a 16, 17-year-old, will get a lot from him. And same thing with Seven Deadly Sins. Like, I feel like most people watch Seven Deadly Sins are literal, like, young-ass children. And I feel by that, like, just going through puberty, and by that point, they'd just be a little bit horny, but not like, so they'll like, just get like a little bit horny gauge boost from the fucking cringy pre-Meliodas scenes, and that's about it. So you know how it is as a teen going through puberty. But some of these other shows, you have to be like more conscious to actually understand what they're trying to tell you, like Chainsaw Man or Beastars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess we could talk about Ed. Ed is like next to the ring for like the age gap.
I guess as a parent, you could also just try to help your child understand the themes a little bit more. Like you wouldn't just like, as a lot of bottom parents do, just shove your kid at a TV screen and make them watch something like you would.
Yeah, but that's more work.
Yeah. But as parents, we should be putting in the effort to raise well balanced and independent young people. So
but then again, you kind of want to give them their own freedom when it comes to exploring stuff in life. Yeah. Like, you don't want to be there like, see, Billy, Legacy did this thing, and that means this thing. It's like, what? What does that mean? It's like, oh, it means this. So it's like, nah, I don't really give him the chance to discover on his own. Like, maybe he watched it as a kid, didn't get much when he got older. He watched it again, and he was like, oh, now I understand. Or, just give the kids the freedom to discover things in the world on their own.
Yeah.
It'll be good for them. And if they take a wrong step, you can just put them back on the straight path and give them the freedom again. That's the best thing to do, I believe. Give them their own freedom. If they do something wrong, put them on the right path, and then let them go their own way.
That's a good point. But other anime protagonists. Okay, Edward from Full Metal Alchemist, 2003. There's like very, very, very. There's like a smidgen of I don't even know if I can call this fan service. Like literally one scene.
There is
one scene. I don't even know if I can call it fan service. One fucking scene. I'm not even bringing that up. It's fan service in Full Metal Alchemist is basically non-existent. It's a very serious anime, so good on them for that. Ed I'd say is a very good protagonist for a lot of reasons. I think can be relatable for a lot of young men. I think has a lot of good qualities. He's responsible, hardworking, determined, goal-oriented, and although, albeit still a bit immature, those values are very important values.
We need to talk about Deku. His values and stuff.
I did mention them a bit.
Deku, I feel like Ed is less. I feel like Deku would be a better insert character. Okay, we gotta stop calling all these MCs role models. They're not role models. They're self-inserts, mirrors of the viewers, because we're probably around the same age gap, around the same height and proportions. Usually lower tier in their verse when it comes to their goals or their power level or whatever. And they're usually getting mentored with the actual role models like All Might and Mustang and the others. So they're insert mirrors. I feel like in that case Deku would be the best one because he is awkward. He's a crybaby, and a lot of men in this generation want to let them emotion, but they're told they shouldn't. So seeing one actually do it in a lot of cases, despite all that, would be good for them. I know he wants to get stronger. He goes through a lot of struggles and stuff. But he still has the noble qualities of like an actual role model, like bravery, desire to save people, humility, and the same things type of determination, hardworking attitude. But I think he's a bit better because he's easier to insert yourself into.
He's more relatable. Ed is definitely a different character for a lot of people.
And he's still insertable.
Yeah.
Almost literally every shonen protagonist is insertable to some degree.
He's not nearly as awkward as Deku. Yeah. He's a lot more confident and self-assured, which I think is he's a different kind of character. But Deku definitely is a lot more relatable and easier to insert into and see yourself as than Ed. Because I also do that with Deku a little. So, but
yeah, this depends on your temperament, what stage in
depends
your life
on the kind of person that you are, in a sense.
Yeah. That's why some people say it's Bakugo or Kirishima, and basically nobody else.
Yeah. But Ed is a good one. He's not a pervy bastard. Hardworking, determined, that kind of stuff. Focused on his goals. There is a love interest character in Fullmetal Alchemist, Winry, but not much is done with that. Not much is done with that, which I think is interesting, and I think it reflects well on Ed's character as being a very, very goal-oriented and sort of focused person. There are scenes where he kind of has moments with Winry, but he inevitably focuses on his goal.
Yeah, I like that portrayal.
I think that's interesting, and I think it's a good sort of thing. I don't think it's up to any point where it's unhealthy. Maybe up to a little bit where he kind of holds on to a little bit too much of guilt, and there's like a whole thing about that, about the past and the sort of things he needs to do to redeem himself. But he doesn't get distracted very often. He's very focused on what he's trying to do, and I think that's commendable as his character for being so focused. But yeah, Legoshi from Beastars is another example. Again, none of these other protagonists are nutty perverts like Meliodas.
Legoshi's also a good insert.
Also a very good insert.
Okay. Deku's like the fucking nerdy, socially anxious shrimp with like skinny shrimp with like not really like all your generically masculine qualities, but he has a good heart. And Legoshi's like the tall, loner, lanky guy. He's also socially occupied in a different way. Like he's not like scared of people. He's just like, I don't know how to talk to them. Like she's definitely a different kind of socially awkward. He's definitely relatable to, like, I see it really much relatable to an older person, like 16, 17, and Deku's more like 13, 14. That's just the way he's built, the way he acts, definitely gives off more of those like secluded, more hermit vibes. So you might be at that age if you're a little bit disillusioned. So I think I like Legoshi. I think he's a good insert.
He's definitely those kind of people. Better for like older people. They're both very good inserts, but probably a bit more relatable depending on your age. Yeah, more than likely. I can relate to both of them.
Especially the tone. The tone of these stars is a bit darker. That's the colors and stuff. Yeah. You probably feel, ooh, yeah, this is my kind of show if you're a bit older. Because you probably know all that colorful. You probably, I still watch My Hero. And I'm 18 years old, so, but you get what I'm saying. So.
Yeah. Well, those are a lot of other better options for like protagonists to enjoy and insert into than fucking Meliodas. So yeah. But we're gonna go a bit more into the values that these protagonists and the animes in general can teach. So I'm just gonna kind of forget about Seven Deadly Sins now because we can probably agree that it has very crappy values
friendship
that aren't very important, like at all. So
like friendship's important at all.
I mean, it's important, but it's not relevant to the discussion, and there's a lot of other ways to learn the value of friendship. But we can talk about the other three. I guess we can start with My Hero again, going into a bit more detail about some of the themes that it might give us, which are important for
the overall show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of those things are run through the different characters, because there's so many of them. You have a couple of main ones, and then there's mostly the ones from the side characters, the overall story. So Deku, the theme of not giving up your dreams, perseverance, humility, which was one of his main things early on. So I guess he gets more confidence. So the humility is still there, but it goes away a bit, but still there. That's the overall show. Puts that all the hardworking thing of Endeavor and All Might. All Might used to be quirkless, worked hard, got a quirk, became no more hero Endeavor, which is a whole different kind of thing with Endeavor. But again, hardworking thing there, trying extremely hard to be number one hero. And then we got Stan, which counteracts those. With the whole hero mentality of Deku and all, basically the entire show being selfish and protecting other people. Stan puts that into perspective of the people that don't do that and doing it for real. Are you doing it for the glory? Are you doing it when it's easy? Are you doing it when it's difficult? Are you actually taking a risk to do the right thing? Stan's peak villain, by the way. I love Stan. There's other characters like Kirishima, who has his own struggle with the cowardice thing. Still all about being the hero. But for all those young men that are struggling with doing something difficult, like asking for a girl's number or maybe stepping in to break up a fight, Kirishima is there for you. He's relatable and he's cool, so he might help you out there. Then we got Denki, who has a bit of imposter syndrome. He's a bit of a scaredy cat, but he gets his confidence a bit later too. He's underestimates himself a lot. Then Bakugo, a lot. It's a lot of little themes that are good for those certain types of people. But the main ones are heroism, perseverance, and always doing the right thing. Which I guess they're kind of intertwined. Bakugo, he is complicated. He is just open yourself up to people and not just push them away to reach a specific goal. Just not he has a certain belief system that makes him kind of antisocial with other people, which is he believes he has to be the strongest. Value in life is only measured on strength and nothing else, which also is unhealthy, especially for a man, because you're not gonna get a lot of friends that way. But he gets better with that too. Just a lot of good values for the young boys and the young males of 2026. And there's a lot of other ones too, like being outcasted from society with the villains, losing your spark with All Might again after he loses his quirk. A lot of different themes that can help different people, and they grow over time in the story too. With Deku in the early stages, he's selfless, all that crap, and it's good. Yeah, it's good. All Might's pushing him. Then later, spoilers in the Dark Hero arc, it kind of reverses and it's kind of become a bad thing. All Might's even blaming himself for making Deku so selfless because it's starting to internally hurt him. He's just slowly destroying himself in that arc. Which again, I think it's good. They're showing the both sides of the coin for being selfless. Also want to be selfless, but not to the point where you're not caring about yourself anymore. Those kind of people where they're just yeah, I'll help you, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you, and then nobody does anything for them. And regarding that too, in that arc, not reaching out to people when you need help, which I think is a very important thing for young men. Because a lot of men, because of this, you gotta be strong and stoic, or you don't need any help. Bro, get handle on later on. They think that asking for help is a bad thing, so they're just caring to themselves, and it really, really isn't good for them. It really isn't good. So, young men, if you're watching this podcast, listening to it, please reach out to people in your life that you trust, your friends, your family, whoever, Discord, Minecraft friend that you trust. If you're struggling, it's very important. There might be a bit more that I'm missing. You got anything to input?
Trying to think about that right now. No, not really. I feel like you kind of nailed it there.
Yeah, it's very good, honestly. A lot of really good themes throughout the entire show. A lot. And the portrayal of the female characters is consistent. It's obviously not as good as the male lead, because he's the male lead.
But it is a shonen.
Shonen, yeah.
And shonen is a type of anime that is geared towards males, so there'll be a lot of male oriented things, more male characters, more male character arcs. Males get a lot more screen time than females. That's just how it is.
There are good female characters like Uraka and Toga. Froppy is cool. She doesn't really have a super arc or whatever, but she's cool. There's just a lot of cool female characters like Mirko, Froppy, and Mount Lady. She has a little arc. And a lot of them have about the same development as a lot of these male characters like Sato. So I guess it's fair. But it's good. I really think it's a good watch for a man, especially if they're young. Like all those men who watched My Hero when it first came out and then grew up with the show, that must feel so good. Like seeing the entire story of Deku and then having your own story at the same time with him. That must, all the values have really been ingrained in you. The show must really be a part of you by that point. I think it's a good watch for all the youngins. If they maybe age up a bit in between the seasons, well, they're all already out, so they might binge watch it. But if they do, maybe their psyche will change with their biology, and they'll reach the points in the story where it's more relevant. Like if you're like 16, 15, into that sort of age, when you get to the Dark Hero arc, it'd be more relevant to you. You might be more a little bit disillusioned, maybe getting told certain things, and that might be more relevant to you at that point. Yeah, My Hero's really good, teaching good values. Even though these values may not be super appreciated in these days, still good values to have for your own personal arsenal of identity. So I think it's really good.
Yeah. So yeah, My Hero is great. And then we could like talk about Beastars, since I feel like Beastars is another really good example.
Yeah, very good actually.
So Beastars, for those of you who don't know what it's about, since I feel like it's not as popular as My Hero, but it's still kind of somewhat popular, I'll still explain what it's about. Okay, so in the world of Beastars, there's two types of beings. Well, for the most part, at least before you get to the second season, I think. No, the third season. Sorry, before you get to the third season, when there's fish, conscious sentient fish. But anyways, forget about the fish. In Beastars, there's two species, races, whatever. There's carnivores and there's herbivores. And you would guess that carnivores eat the herbivores, at least they're supposed to. But in this society, the carnivores and herbivores are meant to live in harmony, and there's a lot of societal and social regulations and governmental regulations and stuff put in place to kind of keep carnivores and herbivores living together without having one harming the other. And the protagonist, in this case, is Legoshi, which is a very tall gray wolf character, which is he's a carnivore. He goes to this high school called Cherrywood Academy, and he is in this drama club or whatever, and there's a bunch of other characters. There's this red deer character called Louie, there's this Bengal tiger character called Bill, and there's a bunch of other characters that are relevant. But the main thing, at least with the first 2 seasons or so, Legoshi falls in love with this dwarf rabbit character named Haru, and he has to grapple with his own urges as a carnivore, and his desire to eat her and eat herbivores, and he grapples with those feelings and instincts, and he learns to overcome them in order to protect Haru and to be a better person. So that's basically the gist of it. Yeah.
So are we gonna mention the fact he almost aired in the second episode?
I think
that's a good point to bring up, especially when we talk about, the subtext.
Yeah, the subtext. I guess you could bring that up.
Yeah, so in our humble opinion, which I think is true, considering a lot of things actually, especially the wording of certain characters, Beastars is a allegory for the relationship between males and females. So all that herbivore eating shit is an allegory for men having sex with females, whether it be forcefully or not. So yeah, I think it's pretty spot on, considering a lot of things that happen in the show, especially, number one, like, she's a male. Number two, Haru, who he almost eats in quote unquote, the second episode's a female. A lot of the relevant carnivores are males. But there's not, I guess the other relevant herbivore is Louis. But Louis
is a special case.
He's a special case, yeah, he's special. And like, it just makes sense considering everything.
Yeah,
like,
I guess I could point to that. But basically, what we figured out was that basically the way the show does it, Subtext. Carnivores are males, herbivores are females. And the more you think about the differences they have, the more it makes sense. Carnivores are stronger, they're more aggressive than herbivores, and they have this urge to, quote unquote, eat herbivores, which we're going to put in air quotes for this segment. Herbivores are weaker than carnivores, they're more fragile, they're usually smaller, they're less aggressive, and their instincts are more based towards survival, so like running away and stuff. Again, as Meko would have mentioned, one of the most important herbivore characters, aside from Louis, is Haru, and Haru is female, and Legoshi is the protagonist. He's a male gray wolf carnivore. So, and just the way that the story kind of progresses, and I think Louis is very important to hit home this point. Because Louis doesn't like carnivores, at least he starts out not liking them at the beginning of the show. That's kind of his entire thing. Fuck carnivores. I don't need carnivores. Carnivores suck. I'll be the B-star and whatever. And Louis has this whole arc about being, spoiler alert, sold in the black market as live bait for carnivores, basically. So that's like his whole backstory and stuff. And he gets bought by like this older red deer. As part of like conglomerate for herbivores, one way or another, some form of thing. But he doesn't like carnivores, and he has this whole relationship with Legoshi where he sort of resents him for not being, or at least fully acknowledging his stance as a carnivore and kind of being himself or accepting that part of himself. And they kind of push each other in that way. And then later down in the story, Legoshi and Louis have like a whole interaction. Louis realizes that, and this is like in the second season as well, Louis meets these other carnivore characters like Ibuki, and they have this really important relationship. And then Louis kind of slowly realizes that he likes carnivores and he appreciates them for who they are and the sort of struggles that they go through. And then there's this whole overarching theme with Legoshi of kind of suffering and dealing with these sort of urges that he has to be a better person, to protect Haru and the other herbivores. And this sort of theme is kind of this sort of self-sacrifice of a lot of the good carnivores kind of is thrown throughout the show, with Ibuki as well, who, as Louis would have described, always looks like, he always looks sad, or he's always making a grimace face. I don't know why I say it like that. But Louis makes a comment that carnivores always look like they're unhappy, or that they're withholding some sort of pain or suffering or something. And I see that as kind of the metaphor for a lot of men who work to kind of control themselves and to hold back the sort of darkness inside of them, which is the same thing with the carnivores. So he learns to appreciate them for that, and he stops hating them. He actually ends up liking them a lot. And he grows as a character because of that, because that allows him to help Legoshi in a really important key scene within the series, which is, I'm not going to give a super bad spoiler, but it's important in that context. So I see kind of Louis as an example of a woman who's kind of learned to hate men and who sees them as just corrupt animals in a sense. They just do a bunch of bad stuff. And his arc is that woman learning to appreciate men, and the good men who put in the effort to overcome that sort of darkness and who choose to be better people and who choose to be protectors of others in society. So I think that is a pretty good analogy for Louis, I think. And I think that's what he represents.
Yeah, so perfect. Love Louis, favorite character.
He's a great character. But there's other characters. There's Juno.
What even is Juno in this? I don't know if Juno's relevant in this discussion.
She's one of the other somewhat relevant female characters in the series. Is there
anything?
Does she add any? I'm trying to think right now if she would add anything to this idea.
You watched season 3, right?
Yes.
I feel like the only thing we can talk about is the fact that Louis falls in love with her, so that's just more Louis arc in this context.
Yeah, it's more of a Louis thing.
Yeah.
I guess Judo doesn't really add that much as her own character. She kind of just enhances Louis' character for the most part.
Pushes him a bit more on his path. It's finishing his arc. He's already done, but you gotta get the resolution of it.
Yeah.
I feel like we go to far talk about the biological represent subtext. But obviously, carnivores faster, stronger, whatever. They're one who wants the urges. Herbivores weaker, smaller, more meek. Obviously, herbivores are females, carnivores are males. the biology lines up for both of them. So yeah, pretty close, for what we were thinking with the original show. I'm pretty sure what it's supposed to be. Especially the fact that Legoshi, there's a bunch of scenes of Legoshi going apeshit over the fact that he wants to eat Haru. Like just eat more. Is our reports read about mostly Haru? I was like, ooh, the shadow is Carl Jung's shadow, the shadow side guys. Ooh, yeah, what you think? Yeah, it's very obvious if you actually watch it with that in mind. That one scene where he's about to eat her, the shadow, talking to him in his ear and stuff. It's pretty obvious. And the whole Gohin training shit where he's like controlling his urges and crap. Like it's a very, very, very spot on analogy for the male.
I guess
the male experience.
masculinity as a whole, toxic masculinity and then positive masculinity, learning to kind of flip the switch with the toxic side.
Toxic masculinity and positive are the same thing.
Yeah, they're the sorry. I'm throwing our own terms, jargon. But masculinity, I guess masculinity as a whole, and the good parts and the bad parts, and coming to terms with both, and using that sort of energy for good, and not letting it consume you in a sense.
Yeah. So Gohin, another good role model character. Same as All Might.
Yeah,
Mustang
helps Legoshi hit home the themes of controlling his urges and honing that sort of violent energy to protect people rather than harm them.
He literally says verbatim. What did he say?
It was tame the beast inside of you, Legoshi. That's what it takes to be a man in this world.
Literally right spot on, right? Literally right on the nose.
I feel like that makes it really fucking obvious.
Yeah, like extremely. He said the word man. He didn't say wolf or beast or animal, or he said fucking man, bro. I guess, what did they call themselves? Animal kind?
I think.
Animal kind? What? Is that it's just spot on? Like it's so obvious at that point. It's like, yep. And that point just like, yeah, this is what it's about. Like, it should literally be throwing hands with these fucking lions to save Haru. Like, what else is it supposed to be about, man? Straight up.
Yeah. So I think it's a really, really great anime for young men to watch and to teach them the importance of coming to terms with their own masculinity and honing it to be better people and to and the values, just having the values of that sort of self-restraint and being protective and noble, and that kind of stuff is really important.
Yeah. I mean, obviously all the weird, quote-unquote, carnivore-ish hunger shit is extremely exaggerated in Beastars, and it's not even like 3% measured in real life. Like, I don't think any average male has the urge to eat a female. But it's just good to keep in mind, you know, good to have that value to self-control.
Because it still has to actually match the story. It can't be like
obviously
watered down just to fit real life. It still has to match the story. So
it's good. It's good to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Good story too. Side of that. Beastar's a really good one. So My Hero's more generically applicable.
Yeah.
But My Hero's good if you're looking for a specific thing.
I mean Beastars.
Yeah, Beastars. Or if you just wanna get a story exploring the relationship between females and males. I think it's a good one.
And there's Full Metal, which is another, has a lot of great themes. You haven't really finished Full Metal, but I have, so I can try to talk about them without getting into spoiler territory. But Full Metal Alchemist is an anime about the Elric brothers, Edward and Alphonse, who go on a quest to restore their bodies after a failed attempt at alchemy to bring their dead mother back to life, which causes Edward to lose one of his arms and Alphonse's soul to leave his body, which Edward has to then transmute into a piece of armor. So that's what it's about. And Edward joins the military in order to get more leads and extra research so he can try to find this thing called the Philosopher's Stone, which is rumored to give him untapped alchemical power, which he is planning to use to bring back his body and his brother's body. That's what it's about. And the central themes from where I've watched, at least for my first time watching, they're primarily about responsibility, owning up for one's actions.
Same sense of responsibility.
Yeah. And another thing I picked up, which there's obviously a theme about the atrocities of war and stuff, but that's not
a big one
as relevant for the discussion. But another one would be about stoicism, which I think is really interesting and sort of having to deal with
Edward?
Not Edward, Mustang.
Mustang.
Actually, both. I think Edward and Mustangs are foes when it comes to this theme. because Edward is like really emotional and impulsive a lot of time when it comes to things, and later down this series a lot of bad stuff happened, and Edward is like all against, and he wants to be rebellious and sort of stuff. But Mustang has his own goals, his own noble personal goals, and in spite of a lot of horrible things happening to both of them, while Edward is getting like all jazzed up about it, Mustang stays headstrong, and in spite of the pain and suffering that he experiences from all those bad things, he continues to hold on and stay strong for his goal, which ends up paying off later in the series. And if you know Mustang's backstory, you know what I'm talking about. But Mustang has been through a lot, and he's promised himself and others that he would accomplish a certain goal, and in spite of the atrocities that he might face, and he continues to stay headstrong in spite of the unfairness and the atrocities of war in order to achieve that ultimate goal. And I think it's a really good thing to see, and it's really important for a lot of people to realize the sort of maturity that is required to achieve certain things in a world that may be more corrupt than we would like. So I think that's important as well.
Isn't this like a Mustang theme, or less of the whole show?
Yeah, that's Ed. More of a Mustang thing, but he's part of the show, and I think Ed is a good contrast to Mustang's character, but it is still part of the show.
Ed get more story later?
Does he?
Or is he the same?
No, not necessarily. Ed's themes are different, and the sort of arc he goes through is different. Okay. I'd say that's a really important thing to mention with Full Metal. So that's like those three. I don't know if there's any other I could mention.
So we did My Hero, we did Full Metal,
and B-Stars. For like a lot of the great values that they can teach. I guess we should probably talk about Solo Leveling now.
God.
So yeah, we just talked about 3 great anime and some of the great values that they give off. Now let's talk about a dog shit anime and some of the horrible values that it... I guess we shouldn't call them values, just concepts and ideas that they kind of... and messages that it kind of gives to the viewer. So Solo Leveling is an isekai. Yeah, we're already starting off pretty crappy here. Solo Leveling basically is about
Sung Jin-woo,
or however you pronounce his name. He lives in a world, Earth, blah blah blah. In this version of Earth, there's these portals to these places called dungeons, which have monsters, and they can kind of spawn anywhere in the world. These portals. And if you leave the portals for too long, this thing called a dungeon break occurs where these monsters spill out of the portals and wreak havoc on society.
Yo, wait, so if this come anywhere in the world, this is making any sense. Wouldn't a random sport just spawn out like fucking Dubai or some shit where literally nobody's around and the monsters come out anywhere?
Yeah.
Guys, so Love has some fucking awful world building. There has to be a monster hunter in literally every fucking place on planet Earth. That just makes zero sense. All right, continue. I just want to bring that up.
Yeah, it is a good point. So, but then there's people who are born with abilities that allow them to fight monsters, and these people are called hunters. And when a hunter is born with a power of a certain rank, I think it goes from S to E.
S to E.
I think.
C. What's Sunjin-woo's rank? His rank is E.
Sunjin-woo's rank E. He starts out as rank E.
Okay.
But hunters are born with a rank, and once you are born with a rank, you can't change it. So Sun Jing-woo he's born as an E rank, so he is not only an E rank, which is one of the weakest hunters, he's also the weakest E rank, so he's known as the weakest hunter. That's his nickname. And he, can't even defeat like the most basic goblin, level 1 goblin.
Can't kill a spider.
Yeah. Until he
level 1 goblin
unlocks his hidden power to level up himself.
Was he gifted that shit like a digital god or something?
I don't even know what happened, but he unlocks his power to level up and to increase his rank through training. And how Sun Jing-woo goes about increasing his rank, he fights monsters, and he goes through a daily training program provided to him by the system. And that training program is, from what I remember, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and he has to run like
5 miles or some shit.
5 miles or something like that.
She was ripped straight from fucking One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Verbatim. Well, not verbatim, but close.
Yeah. And Sun Jing-woo does this for like a week or 2 or something. That's not very long time. He does that every day, and somehow, not only does his rank increase exponentially, but he becomes ripped.
He has a bunch of stat points. Don't they get stat points they can allocate? Like, instead of, I don't know, he's doing push-ups, he's getting like a strength increase or some shit. Bro just does this daily quest of fucking crappy ass workout, and he gets like 20 stat points, can't allocate to whatever, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But
and I think it's mentioned that the workout itself it's not even what makes him buff.
It's the fucking stat points.
It's the fucking stat points. So
she's so funny.
The actual training had nothing to do with it. It's the stat points that he got from the system. And the issue of this is that like it's says off. Okay, for one, the program is garbage. It's not, as someone who does bodybuilding, who has a training program, and my friend here has a training program, it's a horrible...
Not for bodybuilding.
Yeah, not for bodybuilding, but who's still trans. It's a horrible program for anything. For a lot of reasons.
That is not fucking shit. Progressive overload.
There's no progressive overload. There's no progression. It's just the same.
Also, there's zero fucking rest days.
Yeah.
If Sun Jin-woo's a noob and he started this shit, bro would not be able to do fucking 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
Like, how is bro supposed to progress? I don't know how he's breaking through that plateau. Like, my knife push-up. Do 100 more the next day, bro. And you're fucking... Like, running 5 miles and doing 100 push-ups and 100 squats on the same day is you're dead next day, bro. You're not you're gonna have to rest whether you like it or not, Sun Jin-woo. So like, it's pretty terrible program.
Yeah, because he does the program every day. He trains every day, and that's very inaccurate. So overall, there's no progressive overload, so the reps or sets don't increase, so it's the same thing. So Sun Jin-woo, or however you pronounce his name, is eventually going to plateau from doing the same shit over and over again with no increased difficulty.
I have to bring this up. Obviously, this is an isekai, so it's dumb and stupid and shit, whatever. But the fact that this is important is the reason it's important is because people on social media have been popularizing this stupid ass Sun Jin-woo routine. Like, Sun Jin-woo routine. Sun Jin-woo routine, trying to do the voice. 100 push-ups. 100 squats. 5 miles. Get buff. In 1 week, Sun Jin-woo routine. This stupid shit like that. Like, all the people that might be a little bit unfair were like, wow, I can be ripped like Sun Jin-woo if I follow this routine. And they do it for like a fucking week. I was like, wow, that shit was fucking hell. And I barely progressed. I progressed now at all. And I'm really tired. I'm sore. Working out sucks. Fuck you. And then go out to watch it solo level and jacking off. I was like, fuck. We could have had a budding young man in the making there, but nope, the shitty Sun Jin-woo trend had to ruin it. This is a fucking terrible program. Like, I hate these influencers bro this actual dog shit. Same shit with the fucking Saitama trend, but that shit died a long time ago. But like, obviously that's terrible. Like, don't do that shit. Beginners, like, this is a waste of time. Don't do it, man. You're just gonna hate working out.
Yeah. And like the thing other thing I wanted to point out is that it gives a really, and this is an issue of isekais in general with the way that they're structured most of the time, but it gives a really distorted view of like the amount of effort it would take to achieve those sorts of results. It's isekais these days are very instant gratification. They don't really give you or tell you about the values of hard work because the characters basically don't have to work for anything. They just get transported into this magical world where they're fit and super powerful and a bunch of ladies want to suck them. So, yeah, it's bad. It doesn't, there's no value there. There's no values.
Yeah, it's purely just entertainment value.
So, and a lot of people watch isekai because it's an escape from reality and they can go into this fantasy where they think they feel awesome or whatever and project themselves
the main audience
into that. But that's a big problem because it's obviously a form of toxic escapism. Like a bit of escapism isn't bad, but it's just toxic, and there's just nothing good coming from it, at all. Like compared to My Hero, the other anime, the characters have to like really work hard to achieve their goals and to get stronger and to hone themselves. But in here, Sun Jin-woo does a absolutely atrocious workout for a week and he is suddenly a Chad. It's just horrible.
So speaking of Chad, we need to talk about his personality shift. Oh my god. Bro, in the first 2 episodes, Sun Jin-woo is kind of like Deku. He's meek. He's a little shrimp or whatever. First he can't talk to females well. Then after 1 week of doing this stupid ass training bullshit, he's suddenly a stoic Giga Chad. Bon fucking women. Fucking watch past him. He's so buff. Sun Jin-woo fucking raped his shit. Ashley Stoic itself, casually kills a guy off zero emotion. Yeah, this is the same Sun Jin-woo, guys. Less than a fucking month. He's that guy. Like, what the fuck? Or what is this transformation? He's just completely different. He's just Giga Chad for no reason. It's out of the blue.
It's not really like it's a good transformation.
It's worse. Bro loses all of his emotions. Literally all of them.
Yeah, he becomes somewhat toxic and lacks empathy and somewhat of a sociopath, so I wouldn't say that it's an improvement, but yeah, there's also
too quickly, dog. If he's gonna be a Chad, at least make it gradual. I know they're trying to push things to maybe the power making it less human or some crap later, but like, bro, it happened too fucking fast. It doesn't even make any goddamn sense. Like, make it gradual. Yeah, I guess just want to get to all the cool Sanju battle bullshit really quickly, but like, yeah, it's an isekai, I guess. Entertainment value, haha, go burn. So I guess that's why. Like, they could have handled it better, but yeah, it's just dumb. Like, yeah, so Loveline got anime of the year 2025.
Still don't get that one.
Fucking crazy. Actually crazy.
Yeah, Solo Leveling isn't good, especially when compared to a lot of other anime. Like, even DBZ is way better when it comes to teaching the value of hard work, as the characters have to train a lot to get stronger.
At least in the early seasons.
Yeah, at least in the early seasons. But at least it's there.
Yeah.
It's like one of the main themes.
At least
early
Goku's
on.
a good role model. Goku, you know, family man. He good. He fight for other people. Kind hearted, dumb idiot. He's at least better than Sanjimbo.
Yeah.
And muscle, so you might want to work out after watching DPC or something.
Okay. Is that it? Is there anything else you want to add? Because I think that's all I have within the write up.
I guess.
Just generally speaking.
The resolution of all this is like super. Like,
we could give like ratings or talk about
the shows.
Yeah, like the recommendation. Like, just when would you recommend this?
I feel like My Hero would be good in like middle school. My Hero would be good in middle school to start. Yeah, My Hero would be good in middle school, especially that's when it's most relatable. In middle school or like very early high school when you're really young would be good. Beastars would be better if you're like a little bit older, like 16, 17, maybe going into college, things like that. I think it'd be good if you're an adult too, because Legacy is very mature for his age. How old is Legacy? He's like, what, 17?
He's 17.
Yeah, he's 17, so yeah, perfect age there. Full Metal definitely a bit. I feel like a 10-year-old could watch Full Metal, but
you might get more of it from
you'll get more of it if you're older, because you might understand everything better. So I say, like, again, 13, 14 plus Full Metal. It's not really super specific when it comes to like the whole interacting with the gals or the fucking all that mad.
It's more about the atrocities of war and responsibility and redemption and all those.
That, but it's still good.
It's still very good.
Yeah, you should watch So Lovely Never.
Unless you want to shit on it, yeah.
I don't want to shit people for watching So Lovely. A lot of people just watch So Lovely because it's entertaining. There's like, Seo Jin-woo backflip, punches fucking spider, his fucking head explodes.
I mean, there's other anime that are probably equally, if not more.
I heard the animation was really good or some shit. So.
I don't know, like, you can get entertainment value and also other things from something.
That's what the same reason people watch Demon Slayer, because the animation is really good. So I get it. You know, I like a good fight scene too. But like, I just don't say it's peak, man. It's not anime of the year. It's fucking Sanju punching a spider and backflipping or farming or whatever. Like, it's not anime of the year. It's just good dumb fun, I guess. If you think about it like that. Yeah. Considering all this though, wrap it up. I don't think any of these animes have like a huge impact on the young. I feel like they're a good supplement with parenting, and just they're just how their childhood went out to that point, which will shape how they are as people. So good parents, preferably a good father. So obviously he's a man, his son is a boy in this context, so he'll help out more. Good values, good supplement. Just like it'll just reinforce like seeing Kirishima step in front of Rappa and taking all those hits, like, yeah, I should be a hero too. And he gets all the glory, he's cool and whatever, and Fagama's like, Rappa's like, you're a man, bro. It's like, yeah, that's cool. That's a good thing to do. And Deku, sacrificing his chances of getting to the school to save Uraka, like, and he gets rewarded for it, and he gets in anyway. That's the reason he gets in, actually. And he's cool or whatever. He did a cool thing, like, yeah, I should be a hero. All this crap. Same thing with Full Metal. Just seeing characters doing good things, like, get rewarded for it, or just being cool or whatever, like, it's just a good supplement for all those values that might already be there, budding values. Just Legacy, I get for Legacy, I'd say it's more relevant for like older people, so I guess it'd be more to think about. Let's be like, yeah, like if she's so cool for this, like more to think about like internally. Like, you still think it's cool because like the rule of cool never fades, but it's more to think about with all with the shadows and stuff, like relating to yourself as a man in that age, especially if you're like still really horny as shit. Yeah. So I think a good base helps all this stuff. And that's about it.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. I was expecting it to be longer.
How long is it?
I not sure. Let me check. Let me check how long it is.
How is it still recording?
It is.
Please tell me this is still recording.
See,
It's
been an
only an hour.
minutes.
Wow. Okay. Huh.
So decent length, but
We didn't go super in depth with the. We could have gone a whole rant about the whole thing of the world for men. I guess we talk about that another time. So like a whole separate thing that relates to this. But yeah, that's about it for today, guys.
yeah, I don't know if we really need to go on about it. We could always talk about some of the extra stuff in regards to like the current state of men in another episode. So, and I don't want this to be too long because it can be a lot to process. So, yeah, hopefully I'm gonna be a lot. Both of us are gonna be a lot busier.
Yeah.
This year. So, but I'll try and see if I can schedule up another episode soon or as soon as possible. But yeah, we've been your hosts. I can be Fish
And Mech Good.
and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.